Imagine a world where the combined fortunes of today's wealthiest billionaires look like pocket change. Centuries before the rise of modern tech giants, one man ruled over an empire so vast and a treasury so deep that he literally broke the world's economy with his generosity. He is Mansa Musa, the Golden King of Mali, the richest human being to ever walk the earth. His journey wasn't just a pilgrimage, it was a golden tidal wave that left an entire nation in financial ruin for over a decade. How did one man possess so much wealth that gold itself became worthless? Stay tuned as we uncover the incredible true story of the Lion of Mali. But before we begin, if you love deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries and historical legends, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let us step back into the year 1324.
Imagine a world where the wealth of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates is combined into one, yet still falls short of the magnificence of a 14th century king. We often think that the pinnacle of human prosperity occurs in this modern technological era. But history records a name that makes modern wealth standards look like grains of dust. He is Mansa Musa, the Lion of Mali. The man whose journey was capable of changing the world's economic map and making the most precious metal on earth. Before we trace the trail of gold that destroyed a nation, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you and miss these extraordinary stories from the pages of world history. Let us begin the journey to the Mali Empire. In the heart of West Africa in the 14th century, there stood an empire whose vastness spanned thousands of miles, stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to beyond the Niger River. The Mali Empire was no ordinary agrarian state. It was the gravitational center of the global economy at the time. Beneath its soil lay gold reserves so abundant that at that time, Mali produced nearly half of all the world's circulating gold supply across Africa, Asia, and Europe. Mansa Musa ascended the throne in 1312, inheriting an already wealthy empire. But it was in his hands that Mali reached the peak of its supremacy. However, the outside world did not truly realize the scale of this wealth until 1324. As a devout Muslim, Mansa Musa decided to perform the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca. But this was no ordinary spiritual journey. It was a mass migration wrapped in unimaginable luxury. Imagine a procession consisting of 60,000 people. Inside were ministers, attendants, soldiers, and slaves, all dressed in the finest Persian silk. No one was dressed in rags. Even the servants carried staffs of pure gold that shimmered under the scorching Sahara sun. In that line, there were 80 camels, each carrying a very heavy load, 300 pounds of pure gold in the form of dust and bars. If converted to today's currency values, the amount of gold carried in that one trip was worth billions of dollars. Mansa Musa did not bring that gold to be stored, but to be spent and given as alms in every city he passed through. From Timbuktu to Cairo, every poor person he met was given gold coins. And every mosque he visited on a Friday would receive an extraordinary construction donation. The climax of this economic drama occurred when Mansa Musa arrived in Cairo, Egypt. Cairo at that time was one of the most advanced and metropolitan cities in the Islamic world. The Sultan of Egypt, Al-Malik al-Nasir, welcomed this noble guest with grandeur. However, what happened next was something the economic experts of that era never predicted. Mansa Musa, with his boundless generosity, flooded the Cairo market with gold. He bought luxury goods, souvenirs, and gave gold gifts to every government official. The basic law of economics states that when something scarce suddenly becomes very abundant, its value will fall. This is what happened to gold in Egypt. Because Mansa Musa spread so much gold in a short time, the exchange rate of gold against consumer goods plummeted. Prices of basic necessities skyrocketed as traders realized that everyone now had gold. A massive inflation occurred that crippled the economy of Cairo and the surrounding regions. Gold, which for thousands of years had been the ultimate symbol of wealth, suddenly became a cheap commodity because it was too widely available. History records that it took more than 12 years for Egypt's economy to fully recover from Mansa Musa's kindness. The impact was not only felt by traders. Common people holding Musa's gold realized that their gold grains could no longer buy as much bread as usual. Ironically, the richest man in the world had made the people around him relatively poor because their purchasing power was destroyed. This is one of the first examples in history of how uncontrolled monetary policy, even with the intention of charity, can destroy the stability of a nation. To understand how Mansa Musa could become so wealthy, we must look deep into the soil of West Africa. The Mali Empire did not just stand on land, it stood on treasure. 3 main gold mines, Timbuktu and Elon, provided a supply that seemed never. Under Mali law, all gold nuggets found belonged to the king's sovereignty, while gold dust was left to be traded by his people. This system ensured that the state's foreign exchange reserves were always under the absolute control of the Mansa. However, gold was not the only power. The Mali Empire controlled the Trans-Saharan trade routes connecting sub-Saharan Africa with Mediterranean ports. Besides gold, there was another commodity whose value was equal to precious metals at that time. Salt. Salt from the Tagaza mines in the north was exchanged for gold from the south. Mansa Musa collected taxes on every gram of goods, entering and leaving his territory. With a bureaucracy very advanced for its time, Mali became a very stable country, safe for traders, and had a legal system highly respected by world explorers like Ibn Battuta. Mansa Musa was more than just a king showing off wealth. Upon returning from Mecca, he brought back architects, poets, and scholars from Andalusia and Egypt. He built the University of Sankara in Timbuktu, making it the largest center of learning in Africa, housing thousands of scientific men. He transformed Mali from a mere gold exporter into a center of civilization, literacy, and Islamic architecture. The magnificent Gingeber Mosque in Timbuktu, built of mud and wood, stands as a testament to the architectural genius brought by Musa's vision. Mansa Musa's reputation eventually reached the ears of mapmakers in Europe. In 1375, a Jewish mapmaker from Mallorca named Abraham Cresques drew the Catalan in the center of the map. In the Africa region, he drew a figure of a black king with a gold crown, holding a gold scepter and a large gold coin. The caption on the map read, "This king is the richest and most noble king in all this land because of the abundance of gold found in his soil." Mansa Musa passed away around 30 and 37, leaving behind an empire at the height of its glory. Although his successors were unable to maintain the integrity of Mali forever, the foundation he built in Timbuktu lasted for centuries. To this day, the ancient manuscripts of Timbuktu still exist, serving as silent witnesses that Africa once led the world in economy and education. His wealth remains the standard of comparison. If we calculate the value of his fortune by adjusting for 700 years of inflation, economic historians estimate his wealth reached $400 to $500 billion in today's value. However, this figure is still unfair, because Musa did not just have money. He owned the ecosystem. He owned the earth that produced the gold. He did not need to work for money. Money and value were whatever he said they were. Mansa Musa's story is a reminder to us all about the relativity of value. Gold is only valuable because humans agree that it is scarce. When that scarcity disappears, gold is just an ordinary yellow metal. Mansa Musa proved that true power lies not in what we collect, but in what we build. His physical empire may have vanished. His gold may have been scattered to all corners of the world. But his contribution to science and religion in West Africa lives on to this day. He is proof that history is not always written by winners from the West. There was a time when the world turned toward Mali for light, gold, and knowledge. Mansa Musa was not just a rich man. He was an architect of civilization whose footprints were so heavy that even the soil of Egypt trembled beneath his steps. Thank you for listening to this historical narrative until the end. Mansa Musa's story is just one of many historical secrets proving that our world is full of unexpected surprises. If you enjoyed this deep dive into great figures and world-changing events, don't forget to like this video. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think such massive wealth brought more blessings or disasters to the world? See you in the next historical documentary episode. Stay curious and keep learning.